So tonight, you're not only going to get the announcement of the game, but also your first look at the gameplay. I've played it, and after you see this trailer, I think you're going to want to as well. Welcome to Highguard.
Into lands uncharted.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Jeff, come on now, Jeff. Come on now. Let's come on now. The interesting thing about the Highguard situation is yes, everyone wanted this game to fail from the beginning. Immediately, he starts talking about it being, a multiplayer game, and it's like, all right, cool. There's still a chance that it could be a multiplayer game and still be amazing. Something that everybody wants to play and everybody's happy to receive. But it's the fact that it was the last announcement and it wasn't really genre defining or anything of the sort out the gate from what we seen. It just kind of felt like just another, hero shooter. That then, it feels deeper than just, oh man, they missed with the last announcement of the Game Awards. It starts to feel like disrespect. Almost. It starts to feel like, and then I don't even want to get into the potential allegations of them paying to play. I don't want to get into the fact that potentially Wildlight knew that they had this game coming out in January and decided, hey, we're just going to throw all of our money at the last slot at the Game Awards and then hope that just, momentum off that springboards us into an entirely insane amount of people playing our game in January when the game comes out. And it backfired. It backfired. I don't know if that's the case. I think Jeff came out and said, hey, he just chose from the games that he chose Highguard to go because he really liked it. And if that's the case, hey, more power to you, Jeff. But that sunk it. It sunk it. It sunk it. You can't blame all this on Jeff to be like, hey, Jeff, you're the reason why the game's... No, if the game really was like that and it grabbed people in that way, then, I feel like there could have been at least a chance for it to survive longer than it currently has right now. Within 24 hours of Highguard coming out, it dropped 80% of its player base. We already got the reports that the company is laying off a lot of their staff. It's a sad situation. You can't even, be too happy about the fact that it's failing, even if you do have an opposite side that you're taking as far as like, well, that's what these live service hero shooters get because we don't want them. It can't just be that because there's people behind these situations. There's people behind these studios that are laying off their employees. There's families. There's rent not being paid. There's children not getting taken care of because of certain situations. Excuse me. So it's not just all, hey, let's just grab our pitchforks and our fire and head out and come on now. Like there's real humans behind these situations. So, it sucks. It definitely sucks to see. This is basically what it is, right? And this is the center of the outrage. This is the center of the review bombing. This is the center of just wanting to see this game fail in general. This feels like the beacon, hopefully, for a lot of people to say, hey, if this game fails, and it was the last thing announced at the Game Awards, we're hoping that instead of that being a trend, where now every single hero shooter, every single, live service shooter that comes out in the future decides, hey, we're going to try to get the last slot at the Game Awards and, be the biggest thing and pour all of our marketing into it and live service games are going to take over and this is the new wave for the future. They're hoping that it's the reverse effect. They're hoping, okay, well, this went terribly. This backfired on us so bad that nobody else should do this ever again. They're hoping that Jeff is sitting there planning for the 2026 Game Awards, whatever is going to be the last spot, needs to hit, and it needs to be a core game. It needs to be single player story. It needs to be, action RPG. It needs to be in those veins of that big AAA announcement that he did the year before in order for it to hit well with the audience, in order for it to hit well with just the perception of gamers and what they're going to be excited for going forward. And let's not try to replace that with live service hero shooters going forward. That's what I think is at the center of the hatred, because it feels like a strike. It feels like, we need to fight for this to not continue to happen. And that's why I think this game failed, honestly. Like I said, I don't want to solely place all the blame on Jeff, but what the Game Awards means and how information spreads and how perception of the game spread. I'm not saying that everybody who plays video games watches the Game Awards and keeps up with Game Awards news, but it does trickle out. There's going to be casual people who are fans of Arc Raiders and they're just playing a game with their friends, or just playing a shooter game with their friends, but then they start hearing little murmurs about maybe this should win Game of the Year, maybe this should win Game of the Year, and they're like, yeah, maybe it should win Game of the Year. And they're just casual fans. They're not listening to gaming podcasts or anything like this. So, it does make its way out into the casual space. And if you start getting situations like that, where it's like, hey, maybe this live service shooter, or maybe this multiplayer shooter should win Game of the Year over Claire Obscure, it's like we're heading into dangerous territory there. We're giving way too much power to this thing that's just raking in money. Now, there's obviously money being made in some of the story-driven games as well, but we're just giving last lots to random hero shooters, and we're letting other games that have no business being in contention for Game of the Year getting a Game of the Year. It's like, it sounds like we're following the trend of the bread. We're following the trend of the bag, and that's dangerous. And that's what I feel like a lot of people are fighting against,